All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Kai Deering, and you're seeing On the Fly with Kai. And today is August 19th, 2021. And we come to you every single Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, all time zones in between, because I'm just excited. I love to share just valuable resources and some great tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs. And today is no different. I'm super excited. I have Kay Custis in the studio here with me today. And I love it. She's got 20 years in marketing and decided to go out on her own 5 years ago and been kind of a serial entrepreneur. She's actually the founder of Passion Roads Marketing. But she's got a unique business now where she's really service centered. She loves storytelling in her marketing style, and she helps companies attract their ideal clients using some marketing online techniques versus chasing them. And so we're going to chat today a little bit with my good friend Kay. We've known each other for many years now. And those of you who are actually watching live on Facebook or YouTube, you can actually interact with us. You can put your comments on there and you can hear us, or not hear us, but we can see your comments and actually bring them on there. So Kay, welcome.
Hi, Kai. How are you?
I'm so glad to have you. You're awesome. Hey, I would love to find out, because you do have, a similar story of most everyone that's turned into an entrepreneur. They did the corporate route, they get burned out or have a moment of disgust, or they get fired like I did. And they're like, skip it. This is for the birds. I love to know how people ended up being an entrepreneur in the first place. So tell everybody how you kind of came into that path.
Well, for about 20 years, in corporate America, I was in the medical device industry doing all kinds of marketing things, interfacing with in-house teams and also vendors outside to make everything happen. And one day, probably several days, I was thinking, why am I doing this for someone else? Why don't I do it for myself? So I started looking around, and the company I was at actually wasn't doing that well. They're kind of on the outs. So they started laying off people. They laid off almost my entire department. So when with that, a lot of times there comes a package, which was a good package to start my own company. So I did that in 2015.
I didn't get a package. I just got the boot. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to be 100% commission, I might as well go do my own thing. So that's funny. So you ended up, you've had a few iterations. And I think many entrepreneurs, they say it takes, 5 to 7 ventures before they find the one that hits. And I know you've had a few iterations and a few, like you said, pivots. And especially with COVID, tell us a little bit about, that for entrepreneurs. What are some suggestions? Like, don't just stick to something if it's not working, right?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe you need to be flexible and pivot and move around. If something is not working, then look at a different way to do that thing or change entirely. What I did was I started getting contracts with big medical device and financial companies, because medical device is a regulated industry. So I was looking for regulated industries to work in. And so I did that for a few years. Then some things happened personally, and my health wasn't so great. And I changed my lifestyle, which changed my life. I lost a bunch of weight and got healthy. And hey, I want to help other people do this. So I did that like maybe a year before COVID, and then COVID came along, and it's like, oops, we can't do these in-person things anymore. What am I going to do, right? Which I think a lot of people, they came to that place. So I thought, okay, I know marketing. I could do marketing, and I was networking a lot, and I heard people say that I don't like my marketing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I thought, I like to serve people. I like to help them, and I know marketing. Let's go that route. So that's what happened.
I know marketing inside and out. That is really your wheelhouse. So I'm glad that you've kind of come full circle. I know that when we're talking about marketing, you have identified some serious challenges that small businesses have. And so share with us, what are some of the mistakes you see out there, or the challenges? Because you open up a business and you're like, this is a great idea. I'm going to make cookies for a living, right? And then you're like, oh, snap, you got to do this and that and get the word out, right? So what are some of the biggest marketing challenges some of the small businesses face into right now?
Well, I think so. One to start out with is lots of times people are doing. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try a little bit of this. And marketing is about integration. So you need to pull it all together, create a strategy or a plan of how you're going to do something. So that's probably the first thing. Get an idea of, get your map and where you're going to go on that map. Another thing is when they're doing all these things, this always surprises me. I ask my client, so are you capturing your client information? Well, no. I go, we really should be doing that. So one of the first things I do with my clients is to put together a lead generation magnet for them. And the other thing is probably they try to do it themselves. And that doesn't always work out very well.
So let's talk about that. So I told you I don't do that. I mean, like just dummy it down for people, because I think some people don't even know what a lead I think I know what a lead magnet is. I've studied it a little bit, but I think a lot of people don't. So if that was the first thing you do, is number one, you put together a strategy, and definitely the first thing on that strategy is a lead magnet. What the heck's a lead magnet?
Well, lead magnet. So a lead is contact information from your client or potential client. So that's what a lead is. And a magnet is like you're trying to attract them. So usually use some sort of like MailChimp or Constant Contact or something like that, and create a landing page that has a form on it to collect, like their name and their email, maybe their phone number. And you just ask them for their information, and in return, you give them some sort of free gift, like an ebook or a list of something that's relevant to your industry or something like that. Some sort of digital piece of information to give to them in exchange for their contact information.
Got it. And then what about a products company? Would that work the same for them? Like, I get how it'd be easy if you're a coach or service. How would that work on a product side? Very curious. I have a service, so I'm not familiar.
Yeah, well, you can still do that. Maybe it wouldn't be it still could be a list of things, or it could be like invite them to come in your store and give them a coupon, like 10% off or 20% off or whatever, or come in and get this service or this product, and then we'll give you this free thing. So there's different ways that you could do that.
And I know you talked about doing it yourself, right? Like,
yeah,
I think, and it's kind of obvious sometimes, don't you think? Like, you're like, oh, wow, you made that yourself. Good job, right? Gold star. But I think if you're saying it's all integration, it's strategy, how important is like branding with color and branding, just the whole thing being cohesive? Because sometimes it's a disconnect. Like they use this and then they use that, and then you're like, who are you?
Yeah, branding is very important, and branding is not only the fonts and the colors and the imagery that you're using, it's how you present yourself, the tone that you use. Are you someone that's kind of rough around the edges, or are you like very enthusiastic, or are you just like, kind of hanging out here, whatever it is, and the kind of language that you use. Like, I'm not a person that swears, and I don't want to, so that's not part of who I am or what I put out there. So it's just and then it's getting those things in line and being consistent about how you put it out there. Like, I had one client come to me, and she was doing social media, and it was like all over the place. There was not the same colors or the imagery or whatever. So we put together some branding templates, and now she is using those to do her posts. So, and it looks consistent. You can, oh yeah, that's her. I can tell that.
So not necessarily consistent in, because when we talk social media, we're like, you have to be consistent, do it every day. You're saying consistent in look and feel through all of it.
Yes.
Understood. Okay.
But also social media, you have to be consistent in how often you post. Like there's and what you post. I have this. This is common that people have this 80-20% rule. Well, 80% of the time you're educating, entertaining, or instructing, and then 20% of the time you're actually promoting your business.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I know you were saying that social media is a necessary evil.
Yeah.
You want to face into that a little bit? Do you have any more comments on social media? Because I know you love to hate it.
Yeah, I see it as sort of a necessary evil sometimes, and is true intention is not always achieved. But one key thing, two key things. One is the consistency, and the second thing is know where your ideal client is. You don't need to be on every platform. Know what platforms your ideal client hangs out. Like I go to Facebook. So my ideal client is a woman entrepreneur or small business owner that is probably 40 plus. And so I go to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So that's my go-to place.
Yeah, makes sense. And on that social media, I know you're a big proponent for video. Do you want to share with us a little bit about why is video important and your marketing efforts, and what do you recommend people do? Like, do they do it themselves on their iPhone? Talk a little bit about video marketing, because that is huge.
Well, videos are really easy now. I mean, you can make them complicated, but we have this little guy, and we can do a video right on there, right? And just post it just like that. So, and they don't have to be long, like 90 seconds or something. You can make them longer, obviously, but that's a good place to start. And videos are good because statistics show that that's what content, just text, is probably the lowest engagement, and then pictures, and then video. And the best ones are the ones that you're in. So people see you, you can create connection with your people, and also create influence with them.
It's so funny. I was teasing the other day. I said, it bites that the only time I get engagement on anything is when it's my face. Like if I post a picture of anything else, it's like, and I'm just like, so it makes you feel so weird that your, face is on there. But with regards to, I know you're really into written content though. So you talk about video, but you're also really into blogging and e-newsletters and all that stuff. And so how do those kind of integrate together? Do you use that with video? Discuss to us like how important that piece is in your marketing, right? Like blogging and e-newsletters and MailChimp and that email piece of it.
Well, blogging is great because people get a real insight into who you are and how you think. And again, consistency is important for that. Some people do those every week. Some people do it every month. Some people do it every quarter. So you need to find out what works best for you and your clients, and then remain consistent at that. And with the email sequences that I was talking about, consistency is important there too. Don't just do one this month and then do one 6 months later. Be consistent about that. And the email marketing, I think I said this before, that lots of times my clients come and they're doing a bunch of marketing, but they're not getting the contact information from their clients. So email are a good way to do that. And the first one is the lead generation, which will capture their information.
Man, okay, so I'm already exhausted. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy cow, you got an email, you got a blog, you got a lead gen, you got a social media. At what point, because we talked about this before, at what point, and like you could just literally market yourself out of business though too, right? I mean, you've got to spend some time developing your products if you're coaching and things like that. You've got to spend time, engaging with the clients that you have. What point should people start hiring that stuff out? I mean, I'm not a good writer. I'm glad I have a plug and play. I'm not going to lie. It seems like, ooh, bless your heart, all y'all that have those businesses where you got to keep up with everything like that. But tell us about, when does it make sense to hire somebody? Is it from the get-go? Is it from the, oh my gosh, I'm floundering. Like, when do people need to start hiring for this stuff?
As soon as you can. Because what you want to be doing is the thing that you are passionate about. What's your product, what's your program, that's what you want to concentrate on. And your expertise is getting out there and selling the product. And then the marketing supports you in that effort, like the social media posts and doing a blog or a newsletter is good for a lot of people because it especially a service organization, because it lets people know what's going on, like your latest class that you're offering, it's this day, or some new thing that you're doing, or maybe you have a program you're giving a discount on. You can keep people up to date with all of that in a newsletter. Like I have a client that has a travel agency, and we're working on doing a newsletter, which is perfect for travel because especially now, like every day that I talk to her, it seems like something else has changed in travel, that because of all the COVID stuff going on. So I would, and what you might do is start with a virtual assistant, because lots of times virtual assistants are capable of doing a lot of different tasks for you. But I'd also recommend that you get a marketing person to create the strategy first, because with virtual assistants, a lot of times they'll do what you ask them to do, but they're probably not going to go beyond that.
So they'll execute, but they need someone like you to put together the strategy.
Right.
Got it. Because I think what you hit the nail on the head. Like, if it doesn't make you, I always say, if it doesn't make your heart sing or it doesn't make you money, hire it out.
Yeah.
Like my husband loves to work in the yard. If he didn't love you, I would definitely hire that out, because I don't like working in the yard. It doesn't make my heart sing. I don't like bugs and bees and, so I hear you on that. And I think that this whole talk was about marketing overwhelm, and it's a lot. So I know you were talking too that so technology fouls business owners up too, because technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't. So how does that integrate with all this? Because I'm like, holy cow, it seems like a lot.
Yeah, technology seems to be a stumbling block for a lot of people. When my clients come to me, there's usually three things, one of three things, or all three things that they have challenges with. One is like they come to me and say, I tried to do that one thing, and I thought it was just going to take me an hour, but it took me all day to get that sucker done. And you don't want that happening. And the second one, like you said, is technology, which I'll come back to. But the third one is, I know I need to do marketing, but I don't know what I need to do, where I need to start. What is this whole marketing thing? What does that even mean? Oh, and I'll go back to the technology. So that marketing requires a lot of tools, online tools, and people just have a difficult time setting them up or understanding how to actually use them. So lots of times people think I'm a lifesaver because I come in and I show them what to do or do it for them. Like I had one friend, she was doing a class, and so Canva is a great tool to use. So I asked her, did you do this in Canva? She said, yeah. I go, let me show you a couple things to make it sing a little more. So she thought I was like a rock star, I think. So because you can, Canva is easy to use. You don't have to be a graphic artist to do it. So that's a great tool, great tip. Get that one.
I do love Canva as well. It's I'm kind of obsessed with it. And there's a couple other ones out there that I like too. So, okay. So let's go back to, so you said number one, it took longer than I thought. Number two, technology. And then number three is where to start. So let's hit that really quick, where to start, because, this is tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs, right? So I start a business. Where would I have the biggest bang for my buck? Like, where am I going to start right? Not now, but right now. What's the number one thing that I have this, like I said, a cookie company. I want to start my own, weight loss coaching. What's the number one thing that I start with my strategy?
So actually, I'm putting together a class about strategy because a lot of times people don't know where to start, and there's like several things on that list of what we go through. One is your ideal client. Who's your ideal client? Don't go like the whole world. Narrow that down. Maybe, like I just started. I mean, you can't, with marketing, you could go the whole world, but I narrowed down. I want to serve women, and I'm just going to start with California and not worry about any place else after that. And like Facebook allows you to narrow your audience down and to actually do ads to specific clients. The second one is brand. And these are in no particular order, but branding. And we talked about that a little bit. So branding is not only about the colors that you use in your fonts and your imagery. It's your content, the tone that you're using, and it's also about how you are presenting yourself to your clients. And so another one is, you need to, what are the programs or products that you're offering? Determine what those are. Don't get too crazy. Only have one or two to start with, and you can always build on that. And what are the features of that and the benefits? Like the client wants to know so I want to buy this, but what am I going to get out of it? How is it going to be useful for me? So you need to know what those things are. So that's a few things about where you should start. And probably the easiest thing to do is right now is to do social media, and then something like this. Get on Zoom and do a video, interview somebody, instruct somebody about what you're offering, or just have a chat session. And so.
Awesome. And then, so just to recap, it was, who do you want to serve? What is your branding, your products, and then get on social with regards to video. Those would be the 4 kind of things you would recommend somebody do just right out of the get-go.
Yeah.
And then, of course, keep it with the consistency and the timing and the branding and all that piece of it as well. It's interesting. Like, what are some great tips you can have for planning? So think about it. So I know who my ideal client is now. You're talking about strategies, right? And things like that. What, don't just start doing stuff. Don't just start spraying the world and seeing what happens. If you were to put together a plan, is there like a rhythm? So, you said the 80-20 rule. Is there, you should post one newsletter a day, one a week. Like, is there a little rhythm, one blog a week, social media post every day? Is there like a little plan that somebody should just kind of keep in the back of their head of how many times you should do this and that?
Yeah. So my recommendation about social media is one post a day. And the 80-20 rule that we talked about before is, 80% of the time you're instructing or educating or entertaining, and then 20% of the time you're actually promoting. And actually on LinkedIn, the posting doesn't have to be as frequent. It could be once or twice a month. And the key there is in engaging, like identifying people that you want to attract or that are influencers in your area and start engaging with them. That's really good on LinkedIn. The other thing is some other rules. So videos generally can be like 90 seconds. That's a good place to start. Blogs or newsletters, people do them like every week. I would recommend like to start out with like once a month or quarterly. Maybe you do a blog once a month, which is a topical thing, and then a newsletter you do quarterly, which is more about what's going on in your company.
Okay, that seems way more doable. So you could send out one email a month, one email newsletter a quarter, one blog a month, and then do your social media every day. But on the weekends, it seems like there's nobody on there anyway. So just on the weekdays with your social media, right?
Well, no, actually, I read something a few months ago that there is a lot of activity going on on the weekend. So I started paying attention to my own feed. Generally, Saturday is not an active day, but then Sunday, I see more activity going on. So that, I read about what's going on and the trends and everything, but it's always good to look at what's going on in your feed. How are your clients engaging with you? So, and you can look and see, like, when do they generally engage with you? What time during the day, or what day? Find out what's going on with your people. There's statistics out there about everything, but you can look at those and use those as a gauge, but then also look at what's going on in your territory.
Yeah, and I guess kind of finally, as we have a few minutes left, is I know that it's always about storytelling. Do you have some thoughts on that? Because I think, as opposed to just saying features and benefits, people really think in story, and I know you're big into storytelling. Do you have any comments on that as well?
Well, I was so I had a little. I was reading or actually I was watching a video about Michael Phelps, and he was talking about goal setting and everything. And one thing that he's said in there was he was talking about having to get up early in the morning, like he didn't want to do it a lot of times. And he said, that's the difference. That's difference between someone that is good at something and someone who is great at something. Everybody doesn't want to do that thing, but a person that's great at whatever they're doing, and they get up and they do it every day. So my question to you is, what is that thing? Like, for me, a lot of times, it's great to get on the phone and talk to your clients or potential clients. That's something I drag my feet at. So what is the thing for you? What will help you get to that great place?
Definitely. Well, if people would like to engage with you, find out some of your insights, and maybe look at some of your services and offerings, where would they go for that? Would that just be your website, passionroads.com?
Yeah, they can just go to passionroads.com.
So for those of you who are watching this, like without the comments, go to passionroads.com. I really appreciate, I love talking about marketing. It's one of my favorite things. Is there any final comments you want to say before we let you go? Because this was a great discussion. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, I was so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Kai. Just that, don't try to do it yourself. You get other people involved. Start with a virtual assistant, get your strategy in place, and let people help you so you can sing at the thing that you're passionate about.
Awesome, Lost Vice. Appreciate that. All right, everybody. So just wanted to let you know that we meet here every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific and all time zones in between for On the Fly with Kai. And I bring you just another person from my tribe that I respect, that I think I've known, that I've either done business with or has done business with me. So these are all people that I trust, that have great insights and incredible tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs. So I just want to thank everybody for watching the show, and we'll see you back here next week. And Kay, appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate that. All right, everybody else, take care, take charge. We'll see you over the top. Bye-bye.